So the easiest way for me to give you this information was for me to video it and just send it to you. So here we go. And now we can do it together in your living room, in your basement, or on days that you just have a little bit of extra time and you want to do stuff like this at the gym. So first thing we're going to do is just our basic single leg deadlift. This will fall into more of the stability category as opposed to the strength category. So we'll just get set up on one foot. You can use a wall, PVC pipe, whatever you need, and eventually we're just going to go for it with no assistance, and it'll be balancing and then just focusing on that single leg deadlift. As you're working on stuff like this, I'm a huge fan of doing it barefoot because you can actually grip the floor and you can actually feel all the movement going on in the foot. Now for this, we're looking somewhere between 3 to 5 sets, somewhere between 8 to 12 reps, and then just cycle it. Once that gets easy, then we up the challenge. We'll go the other side, gripping the floor. I find my balance first, and then I work into that hinge. And it's slow and controlled. It's not just going through the motions, but it's remembering the purpose of it and working to maximize that control. Our second drill is going to be a Stork plus rotation. So we're going to go back into that single leg position. We're here. Now from the down leg, the leg in contact with the ground, what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to hinge and then I'm going to rotate. And as you can see, I fell over, so my rotation wasn't good enough. I want to work on that balance, hinge, and then open from the hip, and then ideally you'll close it. All right, so I open, find it, hinge it, open from the down leg, and then try to close it back off, and then stand. All right, hinge, rotate, from the hip, fall over a few times, hinge back, stand it up. Last one on this leg, hinge, rotate, back, and I finally got it. It's important to remember that when you start turning, we want the movement to come from the hip, not just opening the chest up and leaving the hips square to the ground, not just throwing your body into that position, but slow and controlled from the hip open and then close. Think about opening and closing a book. Okay, so for the other side, let's see how we do. We find that balance, we hinge, and I fall right over. From there, open, hips, close, and stand. Hinge, open, more, close, and stand it back up. With this, we'll go 3 to 5 sets of somewhere around 3 to 7 reps. Okay? The easier it becomes, more volume we add to it, so get more reps as opposed to up in the challenge. Okay? 3 to 5 times, 3 to 7 reps. The next piece we're gonna do is somewhat of a pistol squat with a toe touch. So I assume the pistol position, that single leg squat, working my way back and down. Now from here, I'm gonna tap out to the side and then come around back. I can work my way back to the front and then back. It's important to remember the leg that is on the ground is the working leg. We're moving around the other leg. We're changing our balance point, but we are focusing on the downward leg, keeping our stability, sitting back into that pistol or that single leg squat position, not just standing and reaching. That'll get some work, but when we go into that single leg spot, here Now I'm working on balancing and stabilizing from the hip and the ankle. The last stability drill we're going to do is going to be a single leg stand and catch. Now you can use a wall, or you can just stand in place and throw the ball to yourself. What it looks like is this. I find my balance, my single leg squat position, and then I just work on throwing and catching. It adds another layer of complexity to the movement. You can switch. You can add in multiple balls and juggle. Or you can use a wall like this. Obviously, you add difficulty to the exercise by making the ball harder to catch. If you throw it in the same spot, throwing and catching, it's going to be challenging. If you start moving the ball placement around, it becomes a lot more challenging to move around, catch the ball, catch it at different heights, catch it in different locations, so it increases the challenge of the stability from the ankle all the way up. The next series of exercises are going to be single leg strengthening exercises. Now we're going to start with just the split squat. Not a Bulgarian split squat, but just the split squat. So we're going to step one leg out and into our lunge position. Now from here, it's just focusing on that lower and rise. Okay? So yes, both legs are working, but I am trying to emphasize the front leg with my down and up. Okay? You can also work on just some holds. So I'm going to squat and hold. Think 15 to 20 seconds, building up to that 30 seconds at various points. So we'll be standing up nice and tall, and then we'll go think quarter squat, half squat, full squat with my bottom knee, my back knee off the ground, and then we'll work through rounds and reps. You're probably going to be pretty strong with this, so I want to start you with somewhere between 3 and 6 rounds, and somewhere between 8 and 15 reps per leg. If that's easy, cool, we can up the volume of it. If it's harder, we'll kind of tend towards, or shy towards those lower rep ranges, okay? For the holds, if you're doing a split squat hold, I want you to think somewhere between 3 and 6 rounds, somewhere between 15 and 30 seconds. Okay, 15 to 20 seconds is a good place to start, and then creeping up 30 to 45 seconds. So that's a good little window for you to start playing around with. Make sure that you're staying true to yourself and honest with how long you are holding each position, and take it through a range. Okay? If it's easier in one spot, move on to the next. If it's harder there, stay there until you've got a really strong hold on it, and then we can progress to a more challenging position. Next movement is one of our favorites. It is the Bulgarian split squat. You can think about loading this or unloading it and just working for good quality ranges of motion. Again, with this, we're gonna aim for the higher rep ranges. So think somewhere between 8 and 20 reps per leg. Okay, we've done this before in class. We get that back foot onto our elevated surface. I'm gonna focus on that lead leg, sitting the hips back and down, and drive it back up. Core is nice and tight, and I'm really focusing on just the quality of the movement and trying to get as deep as I can under control. Again, you want to up the challenge, give yourself a swivel chair like me, because that was smart. Back and down, and up. Now, if you're doing just body weight, I recommend doing a tempo. Think 2 seconds down, 2 second hold, slow and controlled 2 seconds up, and then giving a break at the top. With your Bulgarian split squats, again, aim for that higher rep range. If you are doing just body weight, think about incorporating a pause technique. So you squat to the bottom, hold for 1 to 2 seconds, and then stand it back up. On pause squats, I want you to go for somewhere around that like 8 rep range, 8 to 12. Keep it a little bit lower because it is going to be more taxing. The next series is going to be our lunge series. Now, we've done forward lunges quite a bit. This is one good tool to use. From here, I also want you to add in the reverse lunge and the lateral lunge, or the Cossack squat. The reverse lunge is going to be more similar to our Bulgarian split squat or our split squat. When you go into it, you're focusing on your lead leg. This is going to be the weight-bearing leg. I step back, lower myself down under control, drive it back up, and stand to that fully extended position. Okay? It's important not to just rush through it, but to slow down and give a good range of motion. This might be a good one to add into some workouts, or after some workouts, grabbing a kettlebell or a lightweight barbell and just adding in somewhere between that 8 per leg to 12 per leg, somewhere around that 3 to 4 rounds. Okay? So we'll step it back, core's nice and tight. I load that lead leg and come right back up to fully extended. Step it back, up to fully extended. The next, the lateral lunge or the Cossack squat, both work. They are slightly different. The lateral lunge is going to look like this. I step out and into my single leg squat, coming back up to fully extended, staying on the same leg. It's a single leg squat, and back up. Side view looks like this. I step out and sit back and down, just like I would for a squat. Stand back up and bring the legs together. The Cossack squat, you're going to keep your legs spread out nice and wide, and then I'm going to squat up and shift right into the other side. Shift into the other side. This allows a little bit of a break and isn't just working one side, it is getting both, so it allows a little bit of a stretch and then right into that contraction. So you will feel it a little bit differently doing this versus just your lateral lunge. With both of them, somewhere around that 8 to 12 per side, loaded if you want to, in a goblet position. The next two movements are going to be glute based. So we're going to come down onto the ground, laying flat on our back. We're going to go single leg glute bridges and single leg glute bridge holds. So I find my position and I'm taking it slow and controlled, really focusing on a good position. Getting all 3 points of contact, big toe, heel, pressing the leg out and then driving the hip up, controlling it back down. Press it out, drive it up, come back down. With these exercises, we're looking for 15 to 20-ish reps, somewhere between 2 and 4 sets. Now for the glute bridge hold, this comes a little challenging. You can grab a mini band, something great to be done both at the gym and at home if you've got one. You put the mini band above your knees, you bridge up and just hold in that bridge position for between 15 to 30 seconds per side. More challenging than it sounds, but highly beneficial and totally worth it. The next movement is not one of my favorite movements to do on camera, but I'm going to do it just for you. Okay? It's going to be a clamshell plus a hip bridge. So what it looks like is I'm on my side. Elbow is directly underneath the shoulder. I'm pressing through the forearm. The first thing I'm going to do is clamshell my leg. So I'm going to press up with the top leg. Second thing I'm going to do is drive from knee to ankle into the ground, and I'm going to bridge up and forward, then come back down, hip to the floor, and bring the knee in. Press up, drive forward, hip back, knees together. Knees and hips, making sure that you're pushing into the ground with both the forearm and the shin. It's really important to press into the ground and then drive up and through. Okay? With this, again, just like with the single leg bridges, you're looking somewhere around 15 to 20 reps per leg, really focusing on getting the glutes to both activate and open up the hips. Okay? As you go through this, when you've got questions, please feel free to hit me up. Email me, message me, however you can get a hold of me. Have fun. Get after it.